All right, another day, another bit of looking at a bunch of code. We got a ton of pull requests to go through, and I'm going to go through them very fast. This is going to be the fastest 40 pull requests you've ever seen done in your life. Guaranteed. That being said, there's a lot that I'm going to just straight up close. Big thing here is anything that really introduces a bunch of bloat to Windows utility, like a bunch of niche apps, we're going to get rid of. I have an idea to not exclude the niche apps, but putting them in just a straight up list like it's done now and just keep adding to it, that's going to be a recipe for disaster down the road and needs to be addressed. So I'll kind of touch on that while we look through some of these pull requests and close out a lot of them. Probably have like a copy paste type scenario. We'll put something up here. And then Linux utilities has really been my main focus. I really love that. Windows utility, obviously, every day I'm looking at it as well. We just did a huge documentation update from Calum, Drift user, and those will probably get committed today as well. And we'll take a look at those PRs. And yeah, it's been fun. How's everybody been? We get a bunch of already some good questions. Do I switch between Linux or Windows? What should I do? If you have to ask, I say, Kevin, why not both? Why not both? That's, just dual boot. Figure out what you like, what you don't like, and then flip flap back and forth. Life's too short. Why choose one? It's not like a religion. You can just have both. Have your cake and eat it too. That's what I say. And then, eventually you might move to one. Is WinUtil dev still down? I don't know. Is it? WinUtil dev is down? Let's see. I was unaware of this issue. Let's see. I don't have my virtual machine manager. It looks like my Windows box is down. Speaking of things being down. It has been a minute since I've actually done anything. Oh. Rutrow Scoob, what's happening there? Modules.alias, no file found. Did an update bork my pass-through? Let's see. What's up with this error? Never mind. We're already derailed, and we're like 2 minutes into the stream. Let's see what we got. I'm sure it's something easy. I can't start, blah, blah, blah. Having the issue too. Solution. You could link the kernel modules to lib modules. It worked. That's what I did as well. It's kind of a janky workaround. Don't really like it. Strange. Okay. Let's look at another one. Audie, thanks for the Twitch Prime. 4 months. All right. I could just restart. Yeah, let's just restart. It's been a minute. I've been just suspending this thing. I think we just restart. I agree with that. The Windows user in me says restart. So we're going to restart. That'd be funny if it crashed. And be like, oops. Oh, you know what it was? We did a system update on the last stream and I never rebooted. It switched out the kernel. Oh, no. Oh, geez. So I've been rocking this for over a week, I think. And I never rebooted after a kernel update. Yikes. That's a bit on the dicey side. God, maybe I should put an application to CrowdStrike. I'd fit right in. Never mind. They would deny my application because this is going to boot right back up. I didn't screw it up that bad. That'd be pretty funny. Close issue, Pickley. I think so. Yeah, we can probably do that. What do we have? GH username Afonso. Yeah, I'll take a look, Pickley. Yeah, so we're good. And I bet you if you just watch up here where the memory is at the very top right, I bet you that's gonna spike up to 20 gigs any second now. You might be thinking, why is Windows taking 20 gigs of memory? And the answer to that is it's Windows. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. Yeah, maybe it's just broken. One of these days, the stream will go off without a hitch. All right, yeah, okay. quick little workaround here. 1 second, and let's remove that. It's okay. Quick fix. Big brain, right here. All right, now we're cooking. Yeah. We are officially 9 minutes into the stream. We've already solved many issues. Look at this. It's gonna be a good stream today. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. We're doing speed runs today. Fixing Arch, fixing QEMU. Let's go ahead, fix some pull requests. This is gonna be amazing. What was that USB device? I don't think I'm at liberty to say. Super secret. It was actually a two-factor USB, a YubiKey, as you should be using hardware two-factor for everything. I'm a big fan of the hardware two-factor. You can never be too careful, and hardware two-factor, while you still can screw up security, it's much harder to screw it up with hardware two-factor. So, huge proponent. If anything is capable of hardware two-factor, I sign up for that, because that means you have to rob me, figure out my passwords. But, I mean, there's a physical component to it. And I just like that. Let's see. Let's go GitHub, Chris Titus Tech. How are we doing here? Let's jump in right into Windows Utility. Holy balls. 30 pull requests in... it's been about a week. It's been about a week since I cleared some of these out. So, let's start clearing some stuff out. App add-ons. What's this? All right, add an app called Unchecky in MPV.net. Yeah, I'm gonna just close this right here. There's gonna be a lot of app closes today where we're just denying it. One, I'm tired of people committing at the end of a JSON file. Inevitably, you're gonna run into merge conflicts when it's done this way. It's not alphabetical. It just sucks. And honestly, I think it's just a bad way of adding apps. So I'm going back on that. I mean, it's better than what we did when we first started, but it's still not very good. I think for a lot of these more obscure apps, we make a button, much like launching Oh No Shut Up with it. So let's launch into Windows and let's just show you what I mean. Kind of a thought process here of what the next improvement looks like. Oh, I forgot to update PowerShell. All right. Sometimes this bombs out when you update PowerShell from PowerShell. We'll see. I want to say I've had more failures than successes here, so I might actually have to rewrite this too. I use Unchecky, it's decent. Sweet. I'm sure it's good. Install Top Grade and run it on Windows. Oh, geez, AH. We used Top Grade in one of the old streams, and I really just did not like it. I did not like it at all. Okay. Yeah, my bad on this one. Probably shouldn't have... Oh, I bombed. Oh, I broke PowerShell 7. All right, 1 second. Let's fix this. I think one of these days I'd load up all my environments before going live. But I kind of feel like the live experience, it's kind of like cheating if you do that. And I kind of like to show all the problems I have while I'm live. Did that work? That probably did not. Let's go Windows PowerShell. Okay, I think... No, that's PowerShell 5 again. So PowerShell core is what we want, which is PowerShell 7. Shenanigans are afoot, I want to say. All right. That's fine, I guess. Let's see what Winget says on this. Something's not adding up here. What's the deal? It's just PowerShell right there. Then we go Winget install. Let's go -E for exact. Let's grab this. Huh. What the hell? So this says PWSH. Huh. Got a little bit stumped here. Okay, this shows PowerShell 7 does work. PWSH. If you type PowerShell in, that actually launches PowerShell, a Windows PowerShell, which is PowerShell 5. You gotta love the naming conventions from Microsoft, but I prefer... I don't know what happened there, but it's fixed now, so... Yeah, it does matter though. I do prefer PowerShell 7 compared to PowerShell 5. You get just a little more functions. Okay, so I was coming into here. We've got our utility and see how we have like already this is just too much. I want to cut this down drastically. And the best way to do it is to make a button. So most people have known about like WinGet UI, It's actually an open source project on GitHub as well, where you can click it. It actually gives you a GUI that you can search through WinGit. So, and you know, your average person can do it. So much like we have run ono shutup down here, which would grab it, run it from a temporary location and give you ono shutup. This isn't part of the essential tweaks anymore. We took it out because we pretty much do everything ono shutup does. However, I still like ono, and in case they do add something in the future, I still wanted to give users that capability, or people that really love ono, that little button to click it, set their settings according to ono, or maybe there's a couple extra toggles that you want to do with ono, you can. And I want that same type of run type system in a button at the top here. And we probably would use like WinGit UI, which if you're not familiar with, it would look like this. Just before we get into PRs, I kind of want to look at WinGit UI. Let's go WinGit UI GitHub. And I want to say, what was this coded in? Yeah, this is coded in C#. And it's actually a really cool utility. So there's a bunch of different ways to install it. We'll just use WinGit for it. It's called UniGit UI, actually. Oh, yeah, the Dave Plummer story. Yeah, Enderman went and downloaded all his malware, which if you're not familiar with Dave Plummer, I think I touched on it in the last stream. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but basically he distributed a bunch of malware back in the 2000 era and ran an ad server. If you're unfamiliar with this era, a whole bunch of people would do fake scans and then be like, hey, fix your computer here, click here. And he ran all these like really intrusive advertisements and executables and made millions of dollars off of it. But he also got sued by the state of Washington, lost the suit, and ended up having to pay the state $400,000 and then also attorney's fees, which accounted to about another $45,000. He still made a lot of money off of basically scamming people. And as a former Microsoft engineer, he definitely omitted that. In the book, he played it down like, oh, it's not that big a deal. No, I mean, the guy's like the grandfather of the adware apocalypse from the XP era. So he definitely was a major contributor, and I do remember his software and cleaning off of hundreds, maybe thousands of computers back then. So, yeah. Yeah, and it's been 20 years, and I do enjoy his recent videos, but you should probably know you shouldn't trust the man. He's obviously not probably the best moral or ethical example you should follow. If he has those, I don't know. So there is definitely another side of things. If he starts talking about crypto, he hasn't changed. You got to watch out. So you've been warned. But I don't think I'll make a main channel video or anything on it. I think the Enderman video really showcased things the best, and that was the Dave Plummer, the man who scammed millions. I think that video is pretty well done by Enderman. I probably would have edited it down a little bit more. It was about a 30-minute video, but I watched it this morning, and I even commented. I was like, hey, it was really cool to see him find all this old adware, but he was like, this is terrible. I'm like, well, I lived through that and cleaned up a lot of his software. And this software actually that Enderman shows in the video wasn't as bad as it used to be because the ad servers were actually shut down. Those servers no longer exist, so they can't actually distribute the ads. There was a bunch of pop-up ads that would usually happen every 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what the user was doing. And you would end up just being bombarded with, hey, I have to purchase this software to get rid of this pop-up. And that's essentially what Dave's model was back then. And that's why he got sued and lost to the state of Washington. So, yeah, people change. Judge a man, word, not his credibility. I don't know about that, Phoenix. I prefer to like judge people by their actions, not necessarily what they say. That's a little wild, take. You okay? You do you. Oh my gosh. I actually had someone comment the other day. I kind of took it personally, and I'm sorry if someone's listening to this in the future and that was you. I commented back on his YouTube comment, and someone was like, you have to choose a side. Somebody, wise man once said, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. And I was like, wait a second. That quote is attributed to a Marxist leader from like the 1940s. I think it was the Black Panther movement. While a very famous quote, that guy was for communism, and this guy's whole post was like, you're not part of the solution, you're part of the thing. Freedom! And I'm like, oh, good night. I've had enough internet for the day. Yeah, actions speak louder than words. There we go, bud. That's something I could actually go through. Man, this Uni Git UI is just amazing. Okie dokie. Maybe not use this. Maybe we have to create our own. Maybe I just installed some malware on my system. I don't know. What's happening here? No? All right, well. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Let's see. What is happening? Let's take a gander. Well, all right. It looks like the installer bombed out on me. I'm just having problems all over today. All right, fine. We'll just relaunch. Any news on Windows 12? We'll probably see something in probably 2026, I would imagine. Maybe 2025. Usually what Microsoft likes to do is they like to sunset the first iteration, the last iteration of Windows, which will be Windows 10. It turns EOL next year. So we might start seeing betas probably at the beginning of this next year, and then it'll get launched sometime probably later in 2025 in like an insider build, and then finally released in a public manner probably at the early 2026 if I'm a betting man. So here in a couple years, because Windows 10 will go end of life. I can't remember the exact EOL date, but very soon. Yeah, Windows 10 still works good. A lot of people are like, should I upgrade to Windows 11? I'm like, not unless you have to. Now, obviously, if you're doing a fresh build, probably just go ahead and choose Windows 11, as you don't want to do a in-place upgrade. Updating like from Windows 10 to Windows 11, you just nuke and pave. So who wants to set up their computer twice? That's just not fun. All right, let's try this WinGit UI store again. I feel like there's something I did wrong here. Let's just see. What browser do I use? I'm still using, Thorium. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I recommend Thorium, but so far it's been okay. At this point, I'm just kind of like, whatever. I'm so beat down by browsers. I do need to look at Arc, but Arc hasn't come to Linux yet. So I might look at Arc in the future if it ever comes to Linux. I don't know if it will. It took forever for them to take all the features and bring them over into Windows. So we'll see. The furry browser, yeah. Hey, I hope Ladybird succeeds. It's a very independent browser, independent Firefox and Chromium-based browser. So, hopefully Ladybird's good. I'm not going to be the very first one to try that out. I mean, that's going to be a nightmare. Yeah, this installer is completely borked, by the way. Okie dokie. Well, that's fun. So maybe not linked to this project directly. Why? Come on, man. Just a day of issues. Some days are just like that. All right, let's just kill this and kill the temp file. Let's try to download it direct instead of going through a WinGit. Let's try just direct stable release. The beta 1.2.3, beta 0. Let's just grab 3.1 right here. Let's go UniGit UI installer. Here we go. Okay. Next. We don't need to install Chocolatey. Next. All right, let's just try it the old-fashioned way, downloading from the browser. Okay. Ensuring WinGit. So there's an issue with it detecting WinGit being installed properly. Huh. Oh, no. Here we go. That's where it's stuck on the CLI install. Huh. That's okay. I probably will just do a grab from the latest releases tab directly instead of using WinGit to launch, which is fine. But the whole purpose of this was this UI is what I kind of wanted to reference. So then like all these people adding all these packages every single PR. I'm getting like 10, 20 PRs. Hey, add my package, add this package. And I'm like, okay, that's getting much. We're just getting a little too bloated. So Unchecky was one that we looked at. And then you can say, okay, I want to grab Unchecky from here. And then you can grab it from Wingit, or you can grab it from Chocolatey, and you can choose your installer. And I really love this, like the Unigit UI style way of doing things. You can also specify, I only want to grab Chocolatey sources or this. You'd also do Scoop, I believe, as well, which is fantastic. So I think adding this and then just having like basic selections for people that are setting up systems. Excuse me. But I think that's really the method forward. So then we don't have this big cluster F of applications from a start menu perspective like we have now. And I think culling this down to just dev environments and system setups for people, which right now it's pretty good. There's still a little bit of bloat in here. Probably I need to go through and get rid of like some shareware junk and a few things like that. Most of everything in here is FOSS. There's a few little catches that I probably need to go through, like Wise program on installer, probably need to dump it. But a lot of this is just some decent open source tools, and I just don't want it to grow much more than this. So that's the idea behind program installs in WinGit. Yeah, so let's get to actually clearing out some of these PRs, right? Now that we kind of got a good base understanding, let's look at our PRs and say, all right, so on this, we're going to say not accepting any more programs at this time. We will be moving most of the niche programs into a button utilizing WinGit, or actually it's called a Unigit now, Unigit UI. And I feel like that would probably be the way to go. So let's close out these app add-ons real fast. WinRAR, pzip is better. Yeah, probably. I agree with that. Use proper. So this is actually a fix. So it's translucent taskbar. I mean, yes, the name of the program is translucent TB, but the TB stands for taskbar. So this would tell someone new, hey, this makes a translucent taskbar, where translucent TB doesn't necessarily explain that. You could hover over it and get the description. Again, I think that's just a little bit too much description. I'm going to close that. Updated docs. Now, this is something that Mola and I think Drift User have been working on. So this looks good. Looks good. And then we're just cleaning out some make doc stuff. Grabbing, I think, a prefers color scheme so you can go light and dark now in the document section. And then he was just doing some cleanup work. All that looks gravy. Let's approve that and squash and merge. To close issues, Pickley, let's see. I'll look up your user here and see how many commits you have. Fix typo and hibernation tweak. Oop, did I have a typo? Ah, yeah, I did. All right, good catch. Very simple PR. Let's squash and merge that. I appreciate typo fixes. There's always plenty in there. Yeah, test the docs PRs. Yeah, so I also made the releases not be automatic anymore because I was tired of it creating a release on every single merge from a PR. So at the end of the day, once we're done with the PRs, I will make a pre-releases so then you can see all the code changes and we can test it out and like the dev branch. Also, somebody actually said earlier the dev branch wasn't working. That was another reason why I pulled up Windows. What was the deal with that? Let's see. Yeah, that's working. So right now there isn't a dev release. So if you go to the about section, it's just going to be the 7.17. That is actually intended because the latest version is the stable version. Now after today, once we finish this and create a pre-release, that will no longer be true. So let's keep going. All right. So GUI tool to remove ads from various places around Windows 11. GUI tool to remove ads from various places around. We're kind of splitting hairs, but who made this PR? Drift User. Drift User's fine. If it was somebody that was new, I probably would have denied this. I like Drift User though. Oh, the left side has removes. Ah, okay, Apex. Now update tweaks to correctly. Now, I think this already did. This already come through. Stand by. Oh, okay. Well, this is going really fast. Bunch of really simple grammatical fixes. I guess I should tell people that I failed English class. I was terrible in school. So expect typos. If ever anybody wanted to farm PRs from me, it's a pretty easy way to do it. Just look through the code and be like, oh yeah, Titus spelled this wrong. Yep, Titus spelled this wrong too. Very fast. Skip the job if the comment was created, edited on the PR. This is actually probably not even needed. Where issue / commands. Oh, skip this job if the comment was created or edited on a PR. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is the thing that Pickley was talking about to get added to, but this is just editing the / close issue fix. So that's fine. Check the server PR channel. I'm gonna just flip them through here. Here's another. Let me see. I bet you just another Git Butler. Has anybody ever used Git Butler? A Git client for simultaneous branches on top of your existing workflow. Any Git Butler users in the house? What distro do you recommend for a terminal nerd? Huh. I don't know if there's a distro I'd recommend for terminal. I mean, just use Linux. Whatever you're feeling for that day, you're going to use terminal plenty. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call one distro better than the other. You're going to use terminal the same way in both. This one, Snyder's Hot Buffalo pieces. Pretty delicious, packed with calories. And I just worked out, so I was like, I'm just dying. Always. I can never eat enough food. It's a good problem to have. All right, Git Butler, GitHub. Oh, 11K stars on the Git Butler. Taru, Rust, Svelte. I'm just curious. Looks pretty. Well, I'm a sucker for an open source project with 10,000 plus stars. All right. I'm letting this one slide today because I kind of want to try it out. Oh, yeah. Peanut butter and pretzels. Oh, so delicious. God bless. I love it. An Explorer bloat tweak. All right. Let's see. Requested home and gallery. Yeah, that's true. I do like the home shortcut, though. I mean, honestly, this PC's probably best. Yeah. Let's see what the tweak looks like, how it's implemented. Martin usually does a great job with his PRs, though. I imagine it's going to be buttoned up pretty easily. Remove home gallery, remove home and gallery from there. It's advanced tweaks, good order system, and we're just doing 2 registry edits, which is reg delete, that, and then we have the reg add, and then 1 reg delete after that. Martin, I almost don't even need to look at Martin's PRs. They're always so solid. Very cool. A lot of people are like, I was working on that. It's true. It's kind of annoying. Should I trust Thorium for payment? Man, I don't know. I'm not a security guy. Honestly, I'm not qualified enough to tell you, hey, this is secure or not. Personally, if I was doing something super secure on here, I don't know. Probably just use standard Chrome. Ugh. I don't even know what Chrome's like in 2024, though. Yeah, it would have the latest and greatest in security updates, but God bless, that's a lot of bloat. Anyhow, fix closed discussion on PR merge. What do we got here? This is closed discussion YAML. We're changing the closed discussion cat BR resolves read line number of IDs. I see. So this was 2 jobs. It looked like it's getting consolidated into the singular job. I wonder why he did that. Let's read it a little bit. Yeah, don't trust any browser. Build your own. Yeah, eLinks is safe. W3M, man. It's always solid. Yeah, I think we're going to go with it. He's just expanding it to get the online linking keywords to link and close discussions based on the PR merge workflow. Okay. What could go wrong with that? Let's move on. All right. Rename some preferences. Just a simple UI UX test. Removed enable show text on some preferences, depending on how easy they are to understand. Everyone knows this has been a problem. From a user standpoint, I totally understand why that's there. Some of these had enable, disable, which obviously, since we have the toggles next to them, that's kind of pointless. To see this in action, oops, did I close that? Yeah, I did 2 of them. All right, let's try that one more time. When you look at it right now, you see how it says enable, 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 enable. Like, of course, it just needs to say snap assist fly out. It's enabled if this is on, but if it's off, it's like off, enable, snap. Yeah, it doesn't make any damn sense in its current incarnation. Much needed. Yeah. Thanks. I'm a bit of a crackhead when I'm naming stuff sometimes, and I appreciate you fixing that for me. That is cool. Like, much clearer. Clearer. Much clearer. Much clearer. Yeah, again. All right. Good. Moving on. Like it. Let's keep going. Change shortcut command link to GitHub release. Let's see. Since no one looked at the command in the shortcut itself, it's best idea to make the shortcut as compatible as possible. The one linked here, settle on changing the CT to a GitHub URL. I guess that's okay. So this PowerShell utility for the shortcut would do... Oh, so he's just changing the shortcut to be the github.com, Chris Titus Tech, WinUtil releases latest, and then the downloads WinUtil.ps1. So that link does make sense, so it's not actually doing a redirect through christitus.com/win, which all this is redirecting to the latest, unless it's WinDev, and then it's released, changing it to the latest pre-release. So I do agree with that. That is a good change. And we'll squash and merge. I should probably test these out, huh? I like to. I'm just gonna do 30 PRs and then test after. Martin's doing this change from MPC to MPC-HC. Yeah, this old fork from HC is actually not used anymore. The CLS ID2 is more up to date. And actually, so this, the maintainer, I think, locked away from, and then I think CLS ID2 picked it up. Okay. I agree with that. I thought I already did this, to be honest. Oh well, needed change. All right, moving on. Look at that, we're already like that. So much through here. MSI Center. Do people actually use this crap? Ugh, brother. Ugh, so gross. Yeah, it's kind of gross. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna be like, nah. Yeah, I really hate MSI Center. Bloatware, and I wouldn't recommend installing it. I think that's fine. All right, closing that guy out. Moving on. Oh, Armory Crate. Oh, God bless. Armory Crate at least can be disabled in BIOS, though. Merge pre-release, release, and compile workflows into one workflow. Ooh, I don't know about that. Ooh, let's see what he did. Compile, pre-release, and release. I really don't like this. I kind of like these being separated. So when I want to make a release, I just run the release. If I want to make a pre-release, I do a pre-release. When I want to do just a compile, which happens after each commit, I do that. Yeah, I don't really want to. Yeah, I appreciate the thought from OG. I love a lot of OG stuff. I just don't like this being added to one. Although getting rid of WinUtil from the Git tracking list would have been good. Yeah, I don't necessarily like that. Yeah, I like having these separated. I like having these jobs separated. Don't want to have anything with the compile. And most times I will use the pre-release and change it to a full release. Full release after it has been tested thoroughly. Thoroughly. I don't know. After it's been tested, whatever. Yeah, I think that's good. Typo. Yeah, I know. I get everything's a typo. You get the idea of what I'm doing. Sometimes you just got to move. All right. Fixes the GitHub workflow responsible for updating updates.markdown file known as the changelog. Okay, will allow WinUtil users to easily browse the changelog through the GitHub repo or through the GitHub documentation pages. All right. Yeah, learn some bash scripting. All right, OG. GitHub deploy. Okay. Generation. All right, let's take a peek. What are we changing here? Not a CI/CD stuff lately, which is cool. I really do love it. So we have published, created, edited, deleted. Seems a little excessive, but let's see what we got. So get all releases and update the changelog.markdown file. So we got docs changelog.markdown, GitHub release, exclude drafts, declare number of releases. Okay, changelog path. That looks okay. I'm just looking through here. And that is quite a bit more. Now, I don't think the create changelog right now is in any good shape. So I think that'll be actually a good improvement. Let's approve it. Let's see what it does. Because the update DB right now as it stands, I don't think it's doing much. You guys are like, Titus can't spell thoroughly. Found his kryptonite, the English language. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's okay. That's why we got spell check. That's why I'm so excited for the robot overlords to take over. I can just speak it and it'll just do it. All right. Smart script. Smart switch is a very useful utility for backing up and restoring files from phone settings in Samsung phones. It's such a niche tool. Yeah, it's a cool addition, but not accepting any more programs at this time. We will be moving most of the niche programs into a button utilizing WinGet UI. Cool. I was not aware of Samsung Smart Switch, but I totally could see that. Add Cloudflare Warp. Cloudflare Warp is a VPN. It connects you to the nearest Cloudflare server for the user. Okay. Man, I didn't know they did a VPN. That's cool. Anywho, he put it at the very end of the JSON utility. It's not alphabetized. I've never used it. It goes into the niche category. Copy paste. On to the next. Stop cron-based workflows on forks. Do I care about forks? That's the next question to this. Maybe. How many forks do we have on this project? I'm kind of curious. Holy crap. We have 1,100 forks. So yeah, we probably should do this pull request. Okay. Did not realize there was over 1,000 forks. That is a lot of forks. All right, so he's changing close old issues if statement after the contents github.event_name schedule and GitHub repository does equal christitustech /WinUtil or GitHub event name does not equal schedule. All right. I don't know. Is this really needed? Like the compile needs to happen even on a fork. Otherwise, this whole thing's kind of pointless, right? I mean, for sponsors, obviously, maybe not grabbing my sponsors would be probably a good thing for a fork, but I don't know. You're still going to need to compile this thing, and you're going to use some kind of action to compile it. I guess you could do like a manual compile on the computer and then submit it in a fork. I mean, like, how do forks even work? I would not fork my own repo. I mean, I'm flattered. I'm flattered that people want to fork it, but I'm thinking, I don't know. Yeah. Could you manually trigger the create changelog action so we can see if it works? Yeah, we can do that, Caleb. Let's see. We do need to test that. Let's go to actions while I'm thinking about this guy creating the stop cron job from forks. Let's see. Add Cloudflare Warp, blah, 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 blah. Update changelog. Where's that at? Changelog. Which one is it? All right, close discussions, close issue on close inactive issues, compile, GitHub README, GitHub pages. Was it this one? No. Which one is it? Damn it. We need to change. Oh, wait, more. Here it is. Okay. The workflow does have a manual dispatch, so we'll just run it right now. Let's give it a whirl. Show me what's happening. Okay. People fork it to do a PR and then they never update this. So they're just hanging out. That's true. Gotta add flake. Not in. Yeah, I know. All right, it looks like it made it. Now let's come back to here. Let's look at the docs and see what the changelog MD looks like. So this should be in the docs folder. And then if we look at changelog MD, nice. Good job, OG. That looks good. Solid. All right. Yeah. OG did a good job on that one. On the forks thing, I'm kind of like, I don't know, torn still. It doesn't really matter for me because the GitHub repository is this, and I believe this would work. However, I've never done an if statement like this specifying these variables. So I'm like, I don't really care that much to do this, but was this having an adverse effect on forks? I don't know. I'm closing Toretto on your tool to see pings better. Nice pixel byte. That's the idea. Now Toretto is kind of a finicky thing. There's certain things that rely on Toretto. I want to say someone submitted an issue saying that Forza uses Toretto for some odd reason, which doesn't make any damn sense to me because Toretto, what it is essentially a translation layer between IPv4 and IPv6. And in my mind, you're either using IPv4 or you're using IPv6. So if you establish something on your computer and you want it to use IPv6, well, it should just be native IPv6, and then there's no translation that needs to take place. Same with IPv4. So the whole Toretto tunneling adds latency because of the translation. And frankly, why? Why does it exist? I don't know. Maybe someone could comment down in the comments or chat, but in my mind, I don't understand its purpose other than maybe to be used as in some security in almost nefarious purposes. I almost view it as a security flaw because let's say I want to lock down IPv6. I don't want anything coming out in IPv6. Let's say I'm in a business and I'm like, hey, for whatever reason, we're having problems with IPv6. Or let's say I wanted to do some nefarious activities and torrent something. I don't want DNS leaks to happen through like an IPv6, and Toretto could do that. It could rat me out, so to speak. So there's some ideas behind Toretto that I don't like, some unintended consequences. Personally, for me, for my day-to-day use, I disable it just because I notice latency. And I really don't care if it translates. That's not the reason why I disable it. I disable it just from latency perspective. So I recommend if it doesn't work for you and you're like, crap, I need this for Forza or some other weird implementation that relies on Toretto for some odd reason, I would probably just say, hey, check it, hit undo tweaks. Just on that one thing. Clear all your settings and then just do undo tweaks. So what that would look like, here, let's just do it real fast. AMA, thanks for the prime. Oh, we've got a crash. Sometimes it does this when you do multiple launches through PowerShell. If you just hit enter, it'll relaunch the session and then you can relaunch it again. Yeah, okay. Don't show me again. All right. So if we go into tweaks, what I like to do usually is say Toretto right here. I just disable Toretto, run it. And this basically removes that translation I just talked about. But let's say for whatever reason, you're like, crap, things started breaking or the internet stops working as well as it should have, and you're using a lot of translation. You're like, I need Toretto. All you need to do is just clear all your checkboxes, check it, and then just say undo. And if you look on the background here, when we enabled it, it's just changing this registry key to a 1. And then when we click undo, it's just changing that from a 1 to a 0. And that's essentially Toretto in a nutshell. Kind of a cool little side project. Appreciate you mentioned it, chat. That's a good one. Yeah, and that's not bad. Like IPv6 isn't a bad thing. I like IPv6 in some instances. However, there's been some instances where it's been bad, specifically from a router level. It just depends on your ISP, your internet situation, your current local situation, and what you are doing on the internet. Some people still get away with all IPv4. Some people are like, hey, I want to ditch IPv4 as much as possible. I want IPv6 for everything. And frankly, it's one of those that there's pros and cons to both, and it just depends on your environment. So tinker around with it and see how it works for you. And that's how you enable and disable it, so you can do trial and error. You know, the worst thing is if someone does a tweak using my utility, I don't want you to have to reinstall your system. That would be the worst. So always remember that undo command and just be like, hey, what have I done? Okay, I'll just check those again and then hit undo. And then you're right back to where you started. And then let's say you forget, you could also do a system restore because you should be doing restore points. So there's multiple ways to get back. All right, we sat here looking at this forks thing, and I just don't know. I don't really know why this is detrimental, why this is here. Is this a bad problem? Oh, that's a good one, Mr. Yellow. Yeah, NetSH interface Toretto show state to confirm status. Yeah, you can confirm it that way. Now, if you do the registry tweak, you probably will need to do a reboot. IRP stack size, I used to do tweaks on. I don't really touch it much these days. I've had some adverse effects from it, so I don't really do too much with it. I'm just going to close this pull request. I'm not feeling it. I'm just on the fence for too long, and if I have to think too long on a PR, I'm like, All right, this one's XN convert. What's the XN convert? Batch image converter. I mean, I use file convert for most of that. That's already in the utility. I'm gonna just leave this. Yeah, it's gonna be another bulk statement on the applications. Kind of cool though. XN convert. I'll have to try it out in the future. All right, PR to fix the for loop. Oh, this is what brought down the WinUtility. So a fun story behind this PR. At one point in time, we thought we had a Geotan situation. And it was kind of funny because originally this got submitted. And it was basically just fixing some bad code. Like when we put this in, I think I hacked together some of this too. So this isn't a fault of anybody really. And I hacked this together. It works, but my God, is it ugly. I have spaces and extra stuff everywhere. Again, I'm not the cleanest coder out there, and a lot of times I just kind of hack around until I get it working. I'm more of a, hey, does it work kind of guy. And yes, I do like clean code, and I saw this PR, and I was like, I'm accepting this PR. But what ended up happening was the for loop ran because of just one letter. And what it did was it grabbed an extra package, and the extra package it grabbed was just whatever was released that day on WinGet's database, whatever the latest package was on WinGet's database. So people the report started coming in, I think it was like at midnight, and it started coming in and going, hey, WinUtil's it's adding an extra package on the install. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell? And then I started searching for the package that it was adding, and I was like, it's not here. What's going on? And I was sitting there, did someone hack my GitHub or something? I was going for all these different things. And it was none of those things. It was the simplest of all simple fixes. Right here in the for loop, there's this right there, that LT. Instead of saying LT, it said LE, less than or equal to. And that means the for loop would run one extra time with no value. And since there is no value, WinGet, for some ungodly reason, just picks whatever the latest is and installs it. So it freaked me out. I was up until like 1 or 2, and this is like the day before I had to go into my day job too. So I got like 5 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep. It was something stupid. And I was like, my God, I'm too old for this. I had like a Danny Glover and Lethal Weapon moment. And I was just like, man. So anyways, that's cool. That looks a lot better. It's a lot cleaner code, and this for loop does look good this time, but we will thoroughly test it as OG resubmitted this. A classic like one-off issue, but my mind went to such a dark place from it that I was like, oh my God, what's going on? It's like, I gotta fix this right this second. I cannot sleep until it's done. And it ended up just being one letter in a for loop, and no malice was ever intended behind it. And I was just like, okay, well, that figures. So anyways, that is a fun one. Fun story behind this PR. We're going to accept it again. I'm sure it's good this time, OG. So you didn't hack it together. Cursor did. Well, fair. Phoenix. I don't know if you saw in the last stream, Phoenix, when we were doing the LinUtil. LinUtil, we switched from Jippity. We're no longer a Jippity user for hacking stuff together. We are now members of the elite Claude Sonnet 3.5 race. Jippity got kicked to the curb. I will say the Sonnet code is like way better. We did a massive commit. We'll look at it after we finish these PRs. Safe to merge. OG looked at the differences between Python and the dependent pot. This is just updating a workflow for setting up Python. So, which workflow was this? It was Python GitHub pages. So it was just the documentation. So even if it does go horribly awry, it would be pretty easy to revert. Just good to know. Alrighty. Well, excuse me, what's Lethal Weapon, old timer? Oh, just one of the best gosh darn movies of the 1990s. Actually, I think the original Lethal Weapon was 1980. Was it? When did Lethal Weapon come out? Oh, hell. 1987. Okay, I might have dated myself a little bit there. All right, anywho, moving on. That's terrible. Diplomatic community. If you know, you know. All right. Adding pre-processing to compiler. All right. Files changed. What are we doing here? This is interesting. Code owners. Okay. Doesn't look like anything was actually changed in that file. We have issue/command. Add pre-processing. What is happening? Okay, let me read this again. I'm not understanding what this PR is. All right. Make sure all files don't have trailing white space. And by putting it inside a function, the do pre-processing function, it will be possible in the future to do things like replacing tabs with 4 spaces, the convention that is used the most other than invoke WPF microwin.ps1. I ran the script and not only does it compile WinUtil, but also make sure every file following specific coding conventions like having no trailing white space. Not only does it do the pre-processing of other files in the repo, it also does it on compile.ps1 file itself, indicating that the PowerShell interpreter makes a copy of the running script in memory before actually running said script, which is a new discovery, at least for me. Interesting. Very cool. It does have some commits, probably from early PR we accepted, but let's just check this out. So for the compile, just changing tabs and spaces, removing trailing white space characters during the compile, excluding specific files like code owners, license, PNGs, JNPG, images, and docs. I bet you that is pretty cool. So it's just a bunch of white space fixes, it looks like. So to fix this, I can't exactly accept this commit. So let's just pull it and see what we can do to merge this back in. Let's go cursor. DWM does not have animations unless you're Titus. My DWM has animations. What you got to say about that, Phoenix? Jealous? Oh. Uh-huh. What's up? DWM with animations. All right, sorry. Back to it. I do need to check out Hyperland. Oh yeah, it was supposed to be a Hyperland stream today. You know what? Let's do a Hyperland stream tomorrow. I think we can do some Hyperland tomorrow. 8-bit. Thanks for the prime. First month, 8-bit. All right, man. Welcome. All right. Let's see what our PRs look like. We're going to go over to here. Let's grab the pre-processing. And what I'm going to do, let's just close all that. And we're going to check out this PR. And all this looks really good. I want to accept this PR. Why, oh why, does it not like this PR? Because if I come back to it, you're going to do a Fallout London stream? I should. I think any future game streams, I'll probably do on like a Chris Titus gaming style stream or something. I'm going to pretty much just say Chris Titus Tech just for technology streams, as that's what most people follow me for. That because like I'll be playing a game, like just trying to like chill, relax, have fun. And then other people that join want to just do the same. And then everyone that follows me for technology gonna pop in the stream and be like, hey, can you look at my PR? Can you look at this? Thanks for the utility and all this other stuff. And they know me from the tech space, as one does. I mean, I'm not shaming anybody. I'm like, hey, that's just the reality of it. So it's hard to actually game on stream, at least on this channel. So if I were to do it, I'd have to like make a whole new channel and not tell anybody. It'd be fun. It'd be fun if I were to do that. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Or like occasionally I might do like a game stream like the day of release. Like I think I did Elden Ring DLC the day of release just for fun, which I didn't mind. But it's going to be more of like a one-off thing if I do. Yeah, second channel would probably actually make sense in that regard. All right, I do love this, and I want to merge this commit, but I cannot. So let's say I'm here. Let's go back to the main. And then if we look at this PR, go description, it says must be resolved, but I have nothing to resolve it with. So how in the hell do I, it's going to bug me. Why would this PR be locked? And how do I unlock it? Because if I look at it in the browser, I approve of these, but I cannot merge. There's got to be a way. Why? I mean, it's not really even that much of changes. It's just a bunch of white space. So now I'm like, why would it do that? Huh. One thing I do want to check really fast. Let's do a compile. Oh, we're going to fetch too. Okay, we're good. Let's do a compile and run. Oops. I should have done compile run there. Anywho. Yeah, it's fine. Works good. Should have today's date in the about section, 7/25. Huh. Could be code owner. All he removed was white space at the end of it. Okay, let's see which one has the conflict on the left. So you can see right here, but I don't see anything with a conflict. That's the weird part. It's all just merges, removing white space really. And this is the changes from the PR. There's like almost nothing here other than some of the changes. The big meat and potatoes of it is just the compile script right here, where it does some of the code formatting and just removes trailing white space. So git diff. All right, let's try that, Phoenix. Let's git diff. Oh, let's check it out. Let's just do a git checkout. All right, so now we're checked out. Let's come back. You can see we're on the PR 2383 git diff. I don't think I understand how to use git diff. Okay. Here's the git diff main. Okay. So what's happening here? So this is another branch. Why doesn't it like it? It's got to be something with the closed discussion, maybe? Maybe it's not up to date. Let's try and like do a fetch, maybe? No. Maybe, yeah, I think this is a little bit old. Maybe it just needs to be updated. Check the PR in the browser. All right, let's check it in the browser. It's kind of an odd issue. So preprocessor right here. We like all the things. We've looked over the code. All looks great. And then it's like here. So git checkout, git pull, OG. Yeah. So let's quit diff. Okay. So this does the git checkout. We got a git pull. You can see the conflicts right here. And it probably would even show right here. Ah, so these are fine. The file does not exist. I think he just needs to update it. I think it's all these PRs we've done. It just needs to be updated. Yeah, it's change log instead. So these docs, we just say use modified. Oh, actually, let's just abort. Yeah, I think it's just, I'm just not gonna screw this. We've done so many PRs that this just needs to be updated. And I don't think like I can do like a git pull directly from, well, maybe. What if we do like a git pull and we pull it directly from like github.com, Chris Titus Tech, WinUtil.git, but we're not even on the right. Yeah. So we need a rebate. Oh, geez. It's just, yeah. Git checkout branch main. All right. I'm lost. Just completely went down a rabbit hole I didn't mean to go down. All right. I'm just going to tell OG update the branch. I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna say update the branch. I got conflicts. It's easier that way. You think it's easy? I mean, we could try that. So we would have to update his branch. So this gets a little convoluted. So what we could do is 2382 right here. So we pull this, check out his branch, right? So to see that change, you can see we're on 2383. Now this is actually saying do a checkout of this separate branch, which this is based off of. So he didn't base it off of my branch. He based it off of this remove trailing white space branch. And then that branch is dated. So this actually needs to be a get pull. And then we base it off of here. And I believe we can do it this method. So if we go over to WinUtil, we'll do it directly from, let's hopefully we don't nuke the project. That would not be great. So we'll do a get pull. We're going to do WinUtil, but we're going to pull WinUtil main directly into here. And you can see that, can we just do PR OG MRK 2383? So just do a get pull origin main. Well, that seems too easy. Ah, yes. Yeah, okay. Yep. That's what we need to do. All right, so then we just say use the modified file, use the modified file, use the modified file. And this is grabbing it directly from main. So then we resolve that. Don't include this file. User guide. Use the modified file. So all these docs were the ones that are doing it. We'd say continue merge. We merge that. Then we push it. And we're good. But permission denied. Failed to push some references to OG MRK WinUtil. So I don't have... The remote needs to be rebased. Yeah. He's fixing it now. That's funny. A good sample. I understand what to do next time. I think what we did was we attached. We could still fix it, but OG's already working on it, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But the big thing here was we could just do a get origin, get pull origin main, and then it would grab it from the source project, which should be my project, right? Chris Titus Tech, and then it pulls those changes in, and then we just update the PR directly, which is just a fork of mine, so I can update that. But what ended up happening here was when we were messing around, I screwed up and reassociated the remote origin basically to OG's removing trailing white spaces, which is what this was a fork of. So think of it almost like a fork of a fork, and I didn't have permissions to his fork that this PR was based off of. Hopefully that made sense. It did in my head. Somewhere in there, it made sense to me. Anyhow, let's keep going. We'll circle back around to this at the end. The origin is his repo. Normally, I add the original repo as upstream on my local clone, so I do a git pull upstream main. That's interesting. Git can get unbelievably complex very quickly. All right, add calculate, FOSS calculator apt. I think that's a little excessive, guys. All right, that's a little too niche. Not doing it. Moving on. Adding undo tweak in frequently asked questions. That's probably actually needed. How do I uninstall? You do not have to uninstall. It's deleted. It's a simple script. I apply a tweak and something doesn't work. What do I do? If you apply the tweak and it breaks something, you can always revert the tweak by selecting the tweak and selecting undo tweaks. That's a needed documentation for sure. We'll submit that. That's approved. Thank you. We do have conflicts. We're going to just take the docs update. So we'll just grab that. Mark is resolved. Commit merge. Done and done. Now we should squash and merge. A lot of just documents and programs on this one. I haven't really seen any crazy code. I think the biggest thing was the pre-processing by OG, but that's not too much. All right, coding wonders. He's usually working on MicroWin. Reliability improvements for MicroWin. We're getting there. We're getting there. A lot of it, honestly, if MicroWin becomes like rock solid, it's going to be coded 90% by coding wonders at this point. Coding Wonders has put so much time into MicroWin. All right, we're doing a try catch on here. We got the features list. I don't know what this dump features is. That's kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, but anyways, he's carrying that over. Nothing changes there. We do change the features list here. Let's see, what is he doing differently? For each, okay, that's just the catch. And then unable to get information there. All right. And then we do a try catch on the remove packages. A lot of these packages don't exist, specifically on Windows 10. A lot of people are complaining about a bunch of errors on Windows 10 ISOs. Some of these packages just simply don't exist on Windows 10, but they do on Windows 11. So you do run into errors there. Now, if the try catch on this and it does run an error, instead of just saying error, package could not be removed, what does the catch say? We got the try. And then the catch would be unable to get information about the packages, MicroWin continue, but the packages will not be processed. That's fine. I think that's a decent error message. We'll have to try it out. I like it. Like I said, MicroWin still needs a lot of work, and we need a Coding Wonders is really just doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. One of these days I'll get around to doing it. I just did it so much in my professional career that I just dread anything with freaking deployment services in Windows. All right, that's good. Moving on. Update DNS box hotfix. I forgot to update the DNS GUI box by my last merge request. It was the original one, but not the merged one. Okay. Oh, that's right. I was talking about that. Did you know level 3 doesn't have IPv6? I did not. I did not know that. I was like, oh, hey, I've used a lot of level 3 before. They actually have a lot of fast response times, especially here in the Midwest. I think a lot of times level 3 server 3, which is actually 4.2.2.3, has a lot of speed where I'm at here in Dallas, Fort Worth. Okay. I think it's ready to merge. It looks good. Solid. And I've already looked at this. Let's approve it. I think I already did approve this, but now we're going to go back and approve it again. Double approved. All right. Okay. Now, finally, how's this going? There's a progress bar. Now, Drift User has been working on this progress bar for a while. A lot of people have asked for it. And his solution, because we can't really update it from the CLI or the XAML file that gets created when MicroWin's established. So his solution was pretty elegant. Update the icon itself in the taskbar. So you can see it running and you'll actually get the progress of it with a checkbox, and it actually changes the icon in the taskbar to give you an update. I thought that was pretty ingenious because you can't do it directly in the GUI because as soon as you run your stuff in PowerShell, since it's launched with PowerShell, the GUI's kind of locked in place and it's hard to read from and display on the screen. I haven't found a workaround for that. This might actually be one. So very, very cool way of doing it. I think he's doing it all through like bitmaps and stuff. Let's take a look at the code, but that's the gist of it. And I was like, oh, that is neat. So he's been working on this for weeks now, going back and forth. OG's put a lot of code. Drift has gone back and forth to him. Look at all these commits. I mean, we're talking like 30 something commits. Last commit was last week. All right, let's see. It actually can be merged. I can't believe we don't have a conflict. Damn, okay. Let's take a peek at the code. I'm kind of excited for this one. Okay, so then we have the utility chocolatey. We're doing a sync, which is your run spaces, form dispatcher invoke, setting the taskbar icon. It's calling the taskbar icon state, and then changing it from normal to there, or changing it from error to value count. Setting this up again, doing the sync dispatch invoke with set WinUtil taskbar item on WinGet. You can see it's on their feature install, taskbar install as well. It will also start changing on like MicroWin, like get ISO, and the tweaks button, and undo and uninstall. So you can see that kicking off each time. And since you have the sync task, it runs on a different thread. So the cool thing about run space is that you can actually run tasks parallel from each other, where typically when you're just doing standard single threaded stuff on like terminal or PowerShell in this instance, you have to, it's all done in serial. So it's one after the other. So you have to wait for this task to complete, do this other one. But that doesn't work for a progress bar because you need it to run alongside of it and kind of detect what's happening. So that's Drift User's fix for it. And it looks super neat. I'm here for it. Here is the meat and potatoes of it. The actual function with the taskbar state. So you're going to have 5 different states. You're going to have no state, indeterminate, normal, error, paused, and also invalid. So actually 6. Then we have the switch that happens. It changes it from the CTT logo to a checkmark logo to a warning logo to a none logo. Now, on the environment, it's pulling from environment, local data, WinUtil, and it's grabbing each one of these. I wonder how and where it's getting those from, because I want to say those have to be pulled online. I want to say I have those online, and maybe somewhere else in here he's pulling them down into temp files or the local app data files. Set WinUtility, interminate logo, taskbar warning, okay, check mark. So this is just setting those. I didn't see anywhere where he's actually pulling this data into local app data. So I don't know if this is an oversight or not, or we hadn't got to the code yet. But I don't see anything yet. We're almost there. We're at the end. So close. And yes, here it is. Initialize the hash table. And then when it's grabbing all this down, you can see where it's grabbing it. It's grabbing my logo directly off of christitus.com. Whereas he's grabbing checkbox and warning from christitus.com. Warning from christitus.com. Do I have a warning up there? I didn't think so. Checkmark. Checkmark's there. Logo. Logo works. So all this was pretty good. We are missing the warning logo though. Let's grab that. Warning PNG. Where's he getting those from? Yeah, we'll just grab, I don't know. Warning. Is that even going to be a good one? I don't know. Let's take a peek at the downloads. That looks good to me. Yeah, okay. Let's just save that as a PNG. So you got warning PNG. All right, cool. Let's copy that. Where is my content folder? Is it images? Website content images? Yeah, okay. Warning PNG. Let's see. Warning.png, all lowercase. Warning.png, all lowercase. Okay, cool. Look at the PRs for the website. Oh, is there a PR in the website? Nobody ever submits PRs for my website. Oopsies. Website. We got one PR over here. Ah, you already got it. Never mind. I just did all that for no reason. So you're resizing 800 to 512. And then we got warning coming in at 512. Switching a reduction of 22 kilobytes over here. And then we got warning. Perfect. Perfection. So I do not need to do anything. I just need to accept that. Merge. Good one. Thanks, Drift User. Yeah. All right. So we don't even need on that. But anyways, just word of, hey, let's see how fast my website compiles. Hugo's usually pretty fast. Usually it's about 30 seconds. So 404 not found. Give it a second. The warning PNG seems like bloatware. Well, is it? Is it really? All right, good enough. We'll use that one. So we should be solid there. Let's give this one a whirl. I'm kind of excited for this one. This is probably the biggest PR of the bunch. Up there with OG's precompile. So this is a big one. So we'll merge this guy in. We have the 2 PRs left. Now, coming back over to here. Oh, geez, come on. What's going on? All right, there we go. Well, let's pull. All right. Let's compile and run. All right. And now we have the new hotness over here. So let's try to install some stuff. Let's install, let's just pick some utilities probably. Let's grab Batcat and NeoFetch. Where's NeoFetch? I swear I just saw it. Okay, NeoFetch, NanoZip. Actually, I kind of like PZip. Let's try PZip too. All right. So we got these 3. Let's hit install. Let's query. You can see that installing over here in the background. Successfully installed. We get the little checkbox. Cool. Does the checkbox go away when I go like tweaks or something? Oh, it does. That's kind of neat. All right. I mean, it's not like super informative, but it's just like a little thing. It's cool. I can appreciate that. Yeah, I dig it. All right, nice. Let's just discard that. All right, cool. So that one's done. Let's see if OG's done with this one. Oh, he's still working on it. All right. Nice. Cursor is an AI first editor. Traditionally, blah, blah, blah. Seen this. Another package for Cursor did not work. I actually used Cursor. Cursor's solid. Why is there so much chatter back and forth over one? What? I mean, this should be just a simple JSON file, correct? I mean, yeah. What is happening? Wow. This is like way wrong. Okay. Like, you don't need any of this. You just put any sphere cursor. Anyhow, that's funny. Yeah, that PR is jacked. If we want to add cursor, I can just add it. It's not a big deal. That's pretty funny. All right. So WinUtil, clean as a whistle. Other than the precompile, we're still waiting on OG, but I'll get that later. One thing that we do need to test on the precompile for WinUtil, and we will move on, is the action, and we will do a pre-release. So let's say you want to test something you saw today in this stream. We will just click pre-release WinUtil, say run workflow, and then we just sit here. This should generate the release notes, make a new pre-release tag, and then flag it for development. So it won't be a latest release, so it doesn't mess with anything going on right now. If you're still launching it from christitus.com/win, it'll be 7.17, the stable release. But with this creation, come back to WinUtil, we come over to releases, and you'll notice we now have a 7.25 release with all of the PRs that we've been working on from the taskbar. All that's filled out. We have 3 new contributors with this release, JSW, TGB, and AJ. They both did their first contributions, and their respective PR numbers are right here. Sweet. You have your assets right here, WinUtil. You'll notice the KB is 798, and then the last stable release is 786. So to test this out, we'll come back to here. Let's close this. Let's just do, whatever. Clear. We'll do an IRM. WinDev. This should be 7.25 since we used WinDev. We'll go about 7.25. So that's the WinDev branch. Now let's test the Win branch, which should be 7.17 for the stable. We'll go about and 7.17. Perfection. Oh, can't get much better than that. So 30 PRs done. Really good flow. We've got a really good system in place. So even if I do screw something up, it's not the end of the world because it's just on the dev branch. And we have a really good system. So very, very cool. Oh, Dependabot broke the docs. Oh, dude. Damn Dependabot. Ah. All right. It was actually this one right here. So this would have been GitHub Pages, setup Python v4 to v5. We're just going to do it right here. Let's go GitHub. First, let's go to Dependabot since this totally screwed everything up. Well, yeah, okay. Got it, Dependabot. All right, cool. Let's go dependency name colon, what is it? Setup dash Python. Is that actions? Shit, I should have looked a little bit closer there. Versions. Let's go boop, boop, boop. It could be ignore greater than, let's just say 4. Perfect. Let's fix real fast. 1 second. Can't remember what the what actions. Okay, actions was it. So it's actions. Setup Python. Okay, actions, setup Python. Changing that to ignore anything greater than the version 4. Commit those changes. Dependabot. Shit the bed on Python v5. Bam. All right. And then let's fix the actual thing it screwed up, which would have been GitHub Pages YAML. Let's edit it. We'll switch this back to setup Python v4, commit, revert to v4, commit. Perfect. Nice. And we are done. So now Dependabot's not going to make some BS pull request. Let's wait for this to commit. We'll rerun the action manually, and we'll be perfect. Oh, let's see. Emo Giraffe. It made me regret switching to Linux. Oh, Unga Booga. Gaming on Linux with a depreciated depreciated NVIDIA Fermi GPU is very bad. What's a Fermi GPU? What version is that? NVIDIA Fermi GPU. Oh, good night. That is old. That's 2010. Wow. Whew. That is old. All right. Dang, I was like, oh, what version is that? I usually can see that right offhand. Yeah, NVIDIA's not going to really update or change anything there. I totally get that not working. Oh, boy. Yeah, it was back in 2010, so that'd be a 14-year-old GPU. All right, I think this is good. I think at this point in time, we're solid. We have all our tests passing. The docs should rebuild now. Let's just take a peek real fast at the actions and see GitHub Pages 1 minute ago. Let's see if that does pull up our utility or our documentation. It does. You can see it all right here. Looks gravy. Perfect. All right, moving on. The WinUtil is up to date, ready to go. We'll roll with that. Everything done today is on the WinDev branch. We'll let that cook for a little bit. Let it simmer on the back burner for about at least a couple days to a week. I like to kind of vet those releases a bit more just to make sure nobody has problems with them. And then usually after probably about 7 days, I'll probably roll that over into a final release. Oh, the WinUtil docs is old. Probably needs an update from, if we look at the actions. Oh, well, this is a whole different thing. This is LinUtil. Let's see here. Coliva, new sub here. Because of you, I switched to Linux, tried Catchy OS, and got good performance. Wanted to see this type of performance in stock Arch. Is there any way for that? I don't know enough about Catchy to say. I've heard good things, but for the most part, I think they're pretty much just using like a TKG kernel with custom scheduling. I tried that scheduling and I didn't really like it. So a lot of times I like to just rock just standard LTS on almost stuff. And Catchy's a variant of Arch too. Yeah, that should be noted. Catchy's all based off of Arch. They just changed some of the kernel. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm an LTS guy. I like just vanilla Arch with LTS kernels. It's no frills, but you also don't really have any problem either. So when I'm doing stuff, it just works and less problems. I don't have to worry about, oh, this update might break my system, because most LTS stuff's thoroughly vetted. Yeah, and you can use Linux Zen. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And I ran the Zen kernel for a little bit, but inevitably it kind of ended up messing me up a little bit. So I never really messed with it too much past that. All right, what does our PRs look like in LinUtil? Let's see. Fix Steam on Debian, closes issue 49. All right, Afonso, installing Steam. In this case, he's reading from LSB release, grepping Debian. We do a sudo dpk, okay, adding 32-bit support, then doing software properties common, apt add repository contrib non-free, and then apt install steam-installer, and then finally so on Debian you're doing it this method, where on Ubuntu it's this method. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me actually. Yeah, I need to roll Debian on one of my systems. I think when I was testing it, I was testing it on an Ubuntu based system. My laptop was the last where I tested that script, so that's why I missed that. Good catch. Good catch, man. Good catch. And just to make sure, that was just it for the gaming setup. All right, great. So gaming setup solid. Good PR. How to host a Linux repo locally. I tried to find anything as useful. You can do some repos. Look up apt mirror. If you want to host your own stuff, you can actually host your own mirror. And that way, like if the apocalypse happens, you have all the packages locally. So you can install a whole bunch of stuff. It's kind of cool. I've done that. There's also Docker containers for rolling your entire own Debian source repo, which would be kind of cool. So just something to think about. All right, what do we got? NixOS support and graphical edits. All right, so we got NixEnv for the package manager. All right, should be in common setup actually. So this should be all in common setup. Yeah, we need to change this. If we look at common setup, where's this looking? What are we changing? The big thing, like Alacrity setup. What's this look like? So check package manager, blah, 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 super user. All this can be removed because check env is actually here in the common source. And if you look at check env, bam. Oh, do you need me to trigger that? Sure. Let's trigger that real fast. Actions, GitHub pages deploy. It says it was deployed. Oh, last week. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Probably should set that up to do like maybe a once a week refresh. I don't want to do it on every publish because, geez, it just would build like crazy. That's what was happening. It was just eating up the build time. So I don't mind doing a manual deployment whenever we have documentation updates. I'll think of a more elegant way of doing this in the future. Thanks, Callum. All right. Speaking of which, we have that NixEnv, and then we have NixEnv over here. Let's just fix these real fast. All right. Check environment, check environment. Big thing here is I want to current directory writable. Is that the same? Check super user, check distro, check current directory writable, and check super user. Okay. So that's good. Close that out. Global theming. Check environment, install tools, and then we got the config phantom. When we did this on the last stream, I want to say I was missing one thing. I can't remember what it was offhand. I want to say it was Kvantum or maybe it's QT6 on an environment variable. I want to say setting the environment variable of the... Yeah. I think what this should do. And also the echo E. Yeah, this is SH. So... shouldn't I use printf instead of echo-e? Yeah. So echo E is fine, but printf would be fine. Switch it to printf. I don't know, chat. What do you think? That's just my thought process, is switching it to printf from echo E. Different files have different check environment functions. Possibly, but I think we can actually standardize them all. Let's go ahead and switch these echo E's to printf, accept that. And then this also should be, all right, Sonnet. If we look at this, so we'll just take this guy. So one other thing, also add to etc environment when running configure qt6ct. All right, let's see. Simon says backspace in on echo E, trailing. Okay. So we're going to add this guy in. So we configure Qt6T configuration with Kvantum. And then we're also doing this, which is fine, except that. It's doing an echo again, but whatever. We do have a backspace in on all that. That's fine. All right, great. Just a small bug fix there. I think that should be solid. And again, consolidating the check envs, we're fine. What about Rofi setup? For this one, you can see check distro, check super user, check package manager, and then check command requirements. The command requirements, I think, will be fine. If we look at the common script, check command requirements, I think, again, I think this will be okay. That looks good to me. Kitty setup, sudo curl group sudo. Yep, all that's the same. Nice. And we're just consolidating these. And then finally, we have this one. Now you can see here the package manager does change quite a bit. We have XBS install, and we also have Nala, DNF, and Zipper. So I really want to change this package manager in the common. This feels better to me. And we also have NixOS support we can add too. So right now, this is the bare bones it's doing. We'll add this in, but we can also add Nix env, and that will check the package manager for a whole bunch more distros, which is fine on all functions. Again, standardization's key, and I'm fine with that. So we have that looking good. All right, here we go. Sedit commands are not working on Fedora. Are there aliases set up for a command? For Bash, I'm not sure. Let's see. We could do implementation of bootloader things. We already have that king root in, I think it's the top 5 bootloaders repo. So I think we can do that as well. The edit and sedit commands are not working. Let's take a peek. That would be the my bash script. So if you look at GitHub and you go my bash, oh, there's actually 3 more ones, but the bash RC, what is the aliases here? So you can actually see the alias for Pico, SPico, Nano, and that is all edit and sedit. Vim is mapped to NeoVim. It's kind of probably confusing for some. I feel like that should be documented a little better. So GS, that's the big thing. Let's fix that. Yeah, just thinking out loud here. What do we have for, where's that going? My bash. Okay. That is Linux Toolbox, my bash, bash RC. Okay. So if you go edit, sedit, and sedit's currently mapped. I don't want to fix this. I guess some people are going to want Nano. I don't want to screw up Nano users. You guys are second-class citizens, but I don't want to screw you over with that. Although, if I was truly evil, I would do this. When the meme becomes real. Oh, I'm not gonna do that to you guys. All right. Probably just do V actually. Like do like a V. So when like let's say let's just grab like synergy.com. So then they're in V. Actually, I think I already have V bound in. This looks like my NeoVim actually. Is it? Dionite. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Sometimes YouTube does not show it. Let's see. Hey Chris, I have to install your NeoVim script. How would I add custom snippets so they work with NeoVim? Ooh, let's see. Probably the best way to do custom snippets is like how I set up my NeoVim. It's all granular. So I would go into cd.config NeoVim. Where are you at? I thought I had NeoVim in Vim. Sorry. So, oops. cd and Vim. So this is the structure right here of NVim. Actually, let's do a poll. What do we have? What was I changing here? Let's just stash it. All right, let's pull it down. Okay, so this is how it's set up. We have NVim right here. And why do I have 2 NVims? I don't think I need NVim right there. Because in NVim, that seems unnecessary. Yeah, that's totally unnecessary. Anyways, so here's your basic layout. And if we go into like a, oh, actually not file here. Yeah, let's just show it in File Explorer. It's probably the easiest way to, yeah, let's just go Thunar. So .config, and we'll pull this guy over. This is currently the directory structure. You have your init Lua, which just has like basic setup stuff. Probably don't need to change anything here. I have a couple snippets in here. You could change it if you want. This is also just grabbing it from Kickstart. So let's quit. Oops, my bad. 1 second. All right, now let's open it. Let's try this again. All right, so now you get an idea, and let's take this guy. See how that looks. All right, you can kind of get a good gist of it now. And let's clear this so you can read chat too. All right, now This is using TJ's Kickstart guide, and it's just slightly modified to my taste. Frankly, he has just an amazing Kickstart. If you're looking to build from scratch and you don't want to use all my customizations, TJ might be a better starting point than my NeoVim. Having said that, this is what I use. Now, the big things I do are usually towards the end. And if you can see, we got a GUI resize font I added to it. I think there was like some swaps I messed around with. I changed the theming to Synthwave 84. A slight modification to telescope here. I can't remember exactly what I did. I think it was like, no, I think TJ does his oxide too. This is my custom snippet for markdowns, just for clipboard images, specifically for building Hugo websites. You probably don't need that. Now, I did do spell check and a couple other things since I don't really code. Like, if you're doing any coding in NeoVim and you want to do that side of things, use TJ's. If you want to do like articles and things like that, use my NeoVim. I think that's probably the best way to explain it, because a lot of my stuff was done with like spell check in mind. And if you're unfamiliar with his project that I've mentioned a lot right now, Kickstart in Vim, I think is what it is. Kickstart in Vim. And I want to say, I think this was it. Yeah. 17,000 stars. This is it. Yeah, this is probably the best way to start. I'm gonna link this in chat for this GitHub project, because DJ is like one of the base devs, I think, in NeoVim, and he's just amazing dude. So I basically took his project, did some modifications, more from a article writing standpoint, because I like actually writing in NeoVim, not necessarily coding in NeoVim. As you found out a lot on my streams, I'm using Cursor instead of VS Code or NeoVim, like most professional developers. I'm using Cursor because I do use LLMs quite often. And, you know, I think eventually I will transition in NeoVim. It's totally just a skill issue. And that's kind of where I'm at. But my NeoVim is geared towards noobs, more writing and reading config files, INI files, that type of thing, writing, you know, certain things. Like if you look at what I've done in my, let's say, NeoVim, you can see most of mine's config files, shell scripts, maybe some TOML files. I have a post like my CloudStrike alternatives toast. I was just making an article for christitus.com. I do everything in Markdown. So I really like using NeoVim for those applications. And once I get enough skills, I'll probably evolve into, you know, hit my stage 2 evolution and finally start coding more in NeoVim. But right now, I'm not there yet. Oh, you want to add video syntax? So yeah, I mean, you could just toss it in the init Lua. You could also add your own Lua and then just add it as an include as well. So when you look at the structure from NVim too, I don't want to go too much on an NVim rant here, but you can go into the Lua docs, custom, and then you can put your custom stuff here. And right now I only have like custom plugins. So if you want to add plugins, I would put it here in the custom plugins. If you have like custom snippets of Lua, it should go here. And then when you're calling these files, you can actually go, let's pull up that init Lua again, and you can see require key maps. Well, that's that. If you wanted to do any more, is there any more requires in here? I don't think I have any more. Oh no, require lazy setup. This is lazy in Vim. That's just plugins. I don't think I'm pulling anything else. Anywho, yeah, what you could do is just add it towards the end here as well. Where's my plugins? Plugin. Huh, I don't see it. And if we come over into key maps, it's been a while since I've actually looked at this. This is just my key bindings. Yeah. So is it pulling my plugins in it? I think it is. Anyhow, Kickstart NVim's README for all of that. I'd probably need to revisit this. This is just my specific setup with some plugins and customizations I've done. It's been over a year, and I have apparently forgotten most of what I did. That's why I also make videos for myself. Just so I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I need to do that. LinUtil docs PR. Oh, yeah, we need to look. What do we have? Let's see. I think I added that. Did that PR. Oh, I'm not in my repo. Okay. So this one, that's kind of cool. He did add an exit command, which is actually pretty good to do. I probably do need to make an exit command. I don't think Q exits though, so I'll probably do it a different way. Moved a lot of this into the common script that now gets concatenated with every sh script run. All right. Moving on. Add docs. All right. Calum is the docs master. We started adding some docs to start getting that set up. That's going to be a lot easier as we build things out. We can change up some of the docs. Definitely some additions here. Adding main page, contribute, frequently asked questions, basic documentation, update log, user guide, and then we have the make docs action, GitHub action. So we'll do that. And our overrides of our main base. All right. Oh, that looks great. Let's kick off our LinUtil docs from Calum using GitHub pages. I do like this a lot better. I messed around a lot with like the wiki page that's built into GitHub. But the wiki page kind of sucks. I'm not a big fan. All right, moving on. I made 2 changes. An easy way to do local development. I've actually looked at this PR. I don't know if I like it. I kind of like the idea of it, but I just don't like the way it was done. One, using a local variable in a bash script and changing this from local to this not local. It doesn't really matter because as the PRs are accepted, it will do that. And if you're building it local, you have Rust installed and you usually would just do a cargo run. So I didn't quite understand what this PR was trying to accomplish changing this. So a bit weird. Common script, deleting all that, no good. Yeah, this was all fixed with like a concatenation in a earlier PR we did. I think it was on Tuesday's stream. Really liked that. That was good. Changing variables, like already established variables like packager to pkgr. Again, there's probably some good things out of here and some things that were fixed, but I just sifting through it. I understand what he was trying to do. And it's just, in the end, I didn't like how it was done. And at the end of the day, the more elegant solution was to concatenate the common script file at the header of every bash file. So we have some kind of setup system, which would be great. And, you know, he had a different way of doing it. Instead of concatenating, he just added all this into the start sh script right here that starts it off when it runs the LinUtil binary, which is a different way of doing it. Not necessarily wrong. It's just a different way of doing it. I don't personally like this method. I much prefer the way we've done it with the concatenation in Rust, baking it all directly into the binary. I think it's much faster that way as well, instead of having to do it like over the air. So kind of a neat idea, but in the end we go a different direction. So cool PR, appreciate it, subarctic, but we ended up going a different direction. Ended up going with a concatenation in the Rust file with common script getting added to the header of all scripts run in the commands folder. When you install nvim from LinUtil, it says unsupported OS. Really? Yeah, let's install it real fast. Let's do a poll. I don't know what I was. What's the status? Did I change something? Oh, crap. That's right. We have a big change. Let's commit this before we get too carried away with these PRs, huh? So common script, we're just kind of expanding out common script a little bit, removing this duplicate code at the very beginning of all of our scripts. We got global theme. I don't know. We're going to have to, I'm still have some tinkering to do with global theme. And then we have our system update. Yeah, solid. Consolidate. Consolidate code and fix global theme. We'll pull and push. All right, now we're good. All right, cargo run. All right, you said NeoVim did not work. Oh, okay. What do we got going on here? Unsupported OS. What did I do? Where did I break this? If we go system setup. No, that wasn't it. Probably dot files. Yes? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna start that soon. Yeah. Oh gosh, bless. Did you just text me? Oh, you wrote on the chat. Oh my gosh, I missed my wife on the chat. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible husband. Oh, okay. Oh, that's why you changed your name. So I'm always like, oh, I missed it. Yeah. That's right. My wife was just giving me crap. I almost got permabanned. Oh man, I love it. All right, fast fetch. This is what we're rocking. Old Arch Linux. Gotta love it. The distro of the gods. I am living the dream. Totally living the dream, Abel. All right. What is happening with our NeoVim script here? That is what I am wondering. So with a cargo run, I should see. Well, let's see bash prompt. Is that working? Okay, that one looks like it works. Let's just quit, make sure. Let's just remove bash RC. Okay, so we've broken bash prompt. And then yeah. All right, LinUtil. Without Zoxide, I'm worthless. Okay. Now set it back up. So bash prompt's fine. Yeah. Okay. Bash prompt's working good. Yeah, it totally is. I should not have worked out before streaming. That's always a bad idea. It's been a bit of an up and down day. Oh yeah, the new Path of Exile League HGH. Yeah, I need to check it out. I've been kind of bouncing around on my gaming lately. I've been really focused on learning Rust and some other stuff. So offline, I've been really going hard. Been real going hard trying to learn it. I don't want it to just fizzle out on me. So I haven't had much time for gaming lately. All right. So let's see. Do we have any other PRs? We have 2 other PRs. We got columns. Okay, that's just the pages deploy, which is fine. Yeah, that all looks good to me. Let's merge, squash and merge. Night. How much? I think I've literally reviewed more code than I've actually written now at this point. Add bitmap font rendering toggle feature. This was kind of an interesting one. He kind of does this crazy font rendering toggle bitmap font rendering. It's kind of a strange thing to put together. I've never even heard of this on Linux, but it's a thing. Oh yeah, I did for a little bit go to Final Fantasy 11, but I think that has actually run its course. Sad to say. The issues thing, sure. Let's see. Do we have? I thought we had like a whole bunch of people looking for issues. What was link your chat? Pickley, what's your GitHub username? Oh, on LinUtil. Yeah. I got you. We haven't even installed that yet, Pickley. We're gonna have to do that at a later date. I haven't actually put the close issues, but yes, I will definitely add you, Pickley. Right now, I'm just kind of working through it actually working. As we have run into some problems. Let's go cargo run. Let's go into setup. This fails. Cannot stat. Unsupported OS. What's happening? What is happening? Let's look at this. I messed up something with NeoVim. Oh, okay. I think I know what happened. Look at this. It's doing a curl s NeoVim sh, right? This command right here is what it's doing. Let's control C that. And then, wow. Wait, no, that wasn't it. What was the, oh, I don't know what I was thinking. Brain fog's real right now. Okay. What did I do here? Oh, okay. 1 second. I gotta. Uno momento. I'll be right back. All right, I have returned. Sorry. Oh boy. All right, portal closed. We're ready. Sorry. Emergency. Okay. So something's happened to my NeoVim script. And what did it happen? What happened? What did I do? First, let's pull any changes. That's fine. Let's come back. Let's go into NeoVim. Now, something has changed in this folder. I must have accepted a PR. I know, me accept a bad PR, never. That would never happen. But it may have. Go NeoVim. What was the last PRs I accepted? There was a couple. There was one in July, and it was this guy right here. Change ID to ID like. So derivatives like Catchy OS. Damn Catchy OS people. I bet you this is what did it. All right. It's not that. I think this right here was the big catch. So let's test it. Let's just come over here. We're going to go git pull. We're going to run setup problems, unsupported OS, right? All right. Let's have our trusty LLM fix it for us. I know. I love making you guys cringe. What can I say? I'm addicted to it. But if this is going to be our future robot overlords, let's see what they say. Now we can see how to modify the script to handle these errors. Okay. Added checks before copying directories to prevent errors if they don't exist. Modified unsupported case. Added a fallback message if etc OTC OS release doesn't exist. Change these. Okay. That's all fine and dandy, but let's take a peek. So we're doing a copy if directory exists. Then go ahead and copy recursively those into a backup. Cool. Then we do a bulk remove of .config invim. All right, that's fine. Consolidate all that. Doesn't really change anything though. And then for unsupported OS, okay, that's just stupid. Please install the following packages manually. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but yeah, I don't like it. It really does not fix anything. Yeah, I think this is still better than Jippity. So I still stand by that. Now, having said that, let's see what this does. Let's cat etc os release, see what this does. We got cat etc os release, and you can see the variables that's being sent. It's ID. There is no ID like. This is totally what borked us. So the PR I accepted was bad. I mean, obviously the fix is simple. All this LLM nonsense, let's just accept that. That's actually the answer. Switching it back. And then we got to figure out a way to do derivatives, because wouldn't work for Catchy OS, probably like not Manjaro and like Endeavor OS and those types of things as well. Anyways, to support this point, go setup. I'm sure we're going to work just fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's just, guys, gotta tell you, it was a Catchy OS user. Catchy OS is kind of on my shit list lately. I don't know why. I just breathe. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. All right. But ID like should be there as well. So there is no environmental ID underscore like, right? Yeah, there's no ID like. Okay, so ID like is there. Vorhas, when you do an echo ID like, can you do a cat etc os release like that? When you do that, does it say ID like under ID? I bet you if I didn't scare off all the Catchy OS people that are watching me right now. Oh, I haven't checked the PR on DWM Titus yet. We've been just working through every project I have right now. We could do cat LSB releases as well. Yeah. That's also a good one. ID like Arch. So that was OS release. What about LSB releases? What does that do for derivatives? Okay, so LSB release only shows Endeavor OS with no mention of Arch in LSB release. So it is the correct method we're following. So this actually should be pretty easy. The big thing here is change check for ID underscore like, and if not existed, use ID like. Cool. So that's actually the answer. So what this does is it does a case and says, hey, if ID like is there, use ID like, otherwise use ID. I've never actually seen this format in bash scripting. So the colon minus, $ID is kind of crazy to me, but I kind of want to see let's see if it works. All right, Sonnet 3.5. All right, future robot overlord. Do you work? Indeed you do. I bow down to you, good sir. All right, nice. That was a neat little trick with this case. Yeah, so the OR, you wouldn't necessarily want to do an OR statement here because you're trying to do a case on a specific variable, but you need to check if the variable exists. If it doesn't exist, fail over into the ID variable. So if ID like did exist, it would use that. But since it does not, it uses ID. The colon minus sign is an inline if-else statement for variables. I did not know this, but apparently Sonnet 3.5 did know this. Pretty impressive stuff. All right, cool. That is very cool. Thank you, whoever in chat told me my NeoVim was completely broken. Fix NeoVim install. This fixes it for Endeavor, Catchy OS, all the things. I apologize for my earlier rant. I was just frustrated. Bad. But we're all good now. Yeah, Ubuntu has an ID like Debian, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Lazy G is me being lazy. Actually, I'll just show you. Oh, yeah, I don't want to show you, honestly. But here we are. Here is my rudimentary lazy G alias for bash scripts. I'm a little embarrassed of it, but it's pretty, it works for me. 3 new PRs already. We got to 0 PRs, okay? We were there. I have video evidence of us getting down to 0 for at least a couple of seconds. All right, lazy G. So lazy G does git add current directory, then it does git commit whatever the message is after the lazy G, and then it does a git push. So lazy G's just me being lazy and wanting to do a commit with all the files in the current directory with a message and push all in one. I don't necessarily recommend that. Technically, you should be doing more of like a gcom where you're adding those files and then committing them every time you're doing something. I keep forgetting to do this because I'm terrible at coding. Getting better as I understand a little more. So what should happen is, hey, I'm fixing white spaces. Cool. Fix white spaces. Gcom, fix white space. Okay, now I'm fixing this. And then I'll be like, okay, now I'm adding a new function. Gcom added new function blank. And then at the end of it all, then doing a git push. So I should be using gcom a ton and lazy G very little. But since I'm terrible, I'm using lazy G too much and gcom almost not at all. So you really should, like, every PR should have like a whole bunch of commits so you can track every little change you've done, and then you can go back and easily read your PR. You know, one of those do as I say, not as I do kind of things. Anywho, why don't you use the GitHub CLI? I do. It depends. Usually when I'm doing repo clones, authentication, when I'm doing Git itself, that's because I already have like the Git auth status already done, the GH auth done through there. So it makes GH fixes a lot of the problems I have with Git, and I just don't use GH that much for commits and those types of things. I like to just use Git. but GH amplifies it because it fixes all the authentication crap. So I mix them. Yeah, I accepted a PR that was bad, but we fixed the PR and now it is perfect and it's better than it ever has been. All right, LinUtil. What else do we have? Added slash commands. What do we got? Is this pulled from the other one? All right, issues, comment types, created, edited, and then close issue on close. That. Did you pull it from, yeah, that's good. So we got the comment, check if user equals true. You got me, OG, Meritech, my drift, Mola C. You didn't add you. You're missing yourself, Alfonso, right? Yeah, you didn't add yourself. Here, I'll just change this, modify it a little bit. There we go. We'll just replace. I don't think OG mainly works on the WinUtil, so we'll just do that. We'll see if they come over. I don't think so, though. We'll see. If they do, I'll just add them back. Dursley, thanks for the tier 1. 12 months, a whole year. Dang. Have I been doing this for a year? Feels like just yesterday. I've had so much fun doing this. So good. All right, now we refresh. So now Alfonso is in there. We got that. We got the issue slash on close. So he can close some issues on old LinUtil. Nice. All right, let's merge it. Oh, let's see if my checks work. Oh man, what is going on here? Oh. Oh, thanks Rux for the 5 gifted subs, man. That's awesome. Over on YouTube. Oh, do I still need to add the secrets? I think it's already in there. Let's see. We can look at the actual WinGit. Yeah, secrets GitHub token. I think it's fine because that's actually in the settings file by default. So let's do it. Just let me know if it doesn't work out. Yeah, so in a pinch, what I like to do, you can actually launch into like a web-based editor as well. NeoVim can be amazing for C++, C Sharp even. It just depends on what you're doing, and it depends on your comfort level. For me personally, I suck at NeoVim. I have no qualms admitting that. Like, I'm good at like certain things in NeoVim, and I still like to use it for like basic text files, configuration files, retrieving things on servers, SSH commands, all the, you know, when I'm in that type of headless setup, NeoVim I can't live without. It's amazing. But when it comes to programming, I'm like not familiar enough with a lot of code and function, and don't have it all in muscle memory. So when I'm like just writing a basic function, I need a lot of help still. Like, I'm only been on Rust for like what, a couple weeks now, and I'm only like chapter 2 or 3 in. And even after I read, like, I think it's like 20 full chapters, I'm gonna have to reread it like 3 or 4 times, and then I got to do it for probably a good 1,000 hours before it's muscle memory, and then I have a shot at doing like Rust really inside of NeoVim, because then I know exactly what it should look like. I know exactly what those functions should be, and then I could really expand out. But until that time, I'm fine with just using like cursor and a lot of autocomplete stuff to just help me and kind of hold my hand in these baby years. But I love NeoVim. Don't get me wrong. Do you sync your code across multiple devices? If so, how do you do it? Everything's done through like GH. Like if I'm doing anything with GitHub, everything's done through the 2-factor authentication built into GitHub. So I do have pretty stringent security measures across all my projects. Oh, IntelliSense, I've always had a really good, heard good things about. A lot of professional coders, especially in the older era, probably my era, definitely let's just swear by, IntelliJ and all that. All right, so we got that. We got LinUtil should now work. So let's try that real fast. We're just going to go cargo run. And now NeoVim, perfect. So now if we go NeoVim, should be set up on a brand new instance. Probably takes a little bit to load here. Yeah, so it has to update all of my specific plugins and then configuration and then update all that good stuff. Never liked IntelliJ, so bloated. Yeah, it just depends. Depends on what you want. Yeah, so now Now NeoVim should work on Arch derivatives, Debian derivatives, which includes Ubuntu and all its derivatives. Where before, if you weren't installing it specifically on Ubuntu or Debian, it would fail. Because the whole purpose of the PR, which I criticized, because it broke my install of Arch, was, hey, it called only the ID like. Now it says, hey, if ID like exists in OS release, then use ID like. If ID like doesn't exist, go ahead and use ID. And that was the solution. So we're better off for it. So all that's good. LinUtil is good for NeoVim. It's good for Bash setup. All the other scripts, let's do a quick run through of those. We've already done this. Full system update. Let's see what that's looking like. Yeah, I'm not sure I should be doing the rate mirrors while I'm streaming. I think last time did it bomb out or delay? I might have fixed this. I can't remember. Oh, no, I guess I did fix it. It should work actually on the Debian Pickley. So on Debian, it's kind of a customized install. It grabs the app image version of NeoVim, but I like on Debian-based systems, NeoVim being installed on the system itself, so app image isn't really ideal. So what I end up doing is mounting the app image, grabbing all the files from that mount. I think I squash it. And then after I squash that app image, I copy all those to like an OPT in NeoVim directory, and then install it and link that directly on the system itself. So then you have NeoVim access on Debian. It's the latest and greatest, just like it is on Arch. So looking at the code here, I can show it real fast. You should see that right up here. Let's see, where's NeoVim? Am I gonna have to eat my words? Yeah, this is NeoVim. Maybe I hallucinated that? Yeah, I guess I hallucinated that. What was I doing that with? Okay. Well, let's go over and check, because now I'm curious. Let's go into source commands. And if we look at system setup, was it compile? No, wasn't compile. Thought I'd maybe put it in like no dependencies or something. Maybe gaming setup? Okay. Drugs are bad, people, I guess. I don't know what happened here. I swear I did that. Okay. Yeah, if you're used to having problems with NeoVim, then that's fine. But yeah, that's one way to do it. You can actually take an app image, mount it, and then copy those files directly into like an OPT folder. And then you can link that to like a bin folder as well. So it's a way to kind of install an app image. The downside to doing that way is it's hard to update. So that's the one downside. After this, also remove Win setup. Well, Win setup I use still. Like I like to use NeoVim in Windows too. So I'll usually have like Windows terminal open, and then I usually like to use it there. I know, blasphemy, but it does work pretty good. So it's a pretty basic setup script too. We're just doing like a symlink over to here and linking in NVIDIA this right here. So it's fine. I guess I don't need to install PowerShell over here, but I actually do use the Win setup. Yes, that's fine. You've had problems. The icon's not showing properly. Yeah, Murray, that's actually not a Rofi issue. So I can actually show it real fast. That is actually a font issue. Now, if we look at Rofi's configuration, let's see. I can tell you exactly what's happening. So if we look at Rofi, so icon themes Papyrus. So definitely have Papyrus. Let's look at side node, side tab node. What font is this using? It's not showing. So Sora regular. Sora is kind of a weird font. Wonder what my thought process was there. So you're saying probably like the little search icons probably not showing up for you, and probably some maybe application icons. Chris Tyres, I'm a front-end developer, have a master's degree in information systems engineering and management, and I am having difficulty making coding reviews for my team because I was never taught how to do it. Can you give me any advice or steps on how to do a code review for my team or my own code too? I would say, bless. Guys, I don't know if I'm qualified to give code reviews. I feel bad because I've screwed up so many code reviews. I don't know if I'm qualified enough to tell you. But the big thing I would say is you have to kind of do it. If you have like a public project where you can kind of mess around with a lot of the code reviews, I would definitely do it in like a lab site type setup to where you can actually take those code reviews and bring them in. Also, it depends on your workflow too. Some people really like doing code review directly in like a VS Code instead of on the browser. Me personally, I like to do it just directly on the browser. Maybe if it's like a very complex code review, you do a git checkout, check out all the code, do all your testing, and you go, okay, that's good code, and then go ahead and merge it in. But yeah, and also doing really good releases. That's something I wish I learned earlier too. Like with WinUtil and also LinUtil for that matter as well. We've set up the same method where we'll have stable releases and then we'll have the pre-releases. So this first stable release, when you run just Linux LinUtil, this is what gets run. And then the dev branch gets run over here. So then, like, let's say I really screw up the project in this side of things. One, I could revert it, but also everyone else using the project is just running their releases. So then you can have multiple different versions instead of doing it through branches. And I don't know if that's the right way to do it. It's just the way I found I really like it the best. The reason why I don't like doing a bunch of different branches, originally I was doing like test branches and crap like that, was inevitably when I went to merge it back into main, I would get the git blame. So whenever I was doing my code reviews and I was doing the merges onto test branch and then taking all those things from my team of people and merging it in, I then got credit for all the code that was submitted, which sounds great, but it's terrible because you're also blamed for every second. So when you're in like VS Code and you're like, hey, what happened here? And you like hover over this, which of course it's not going to do it right this second. There should be like a git blame, which you could pull up and actually say, hey, when was this changed? And you get a better understanding of who did that. So the git blame something I really wanted specifically on WinUtil because there's so many contributors now that understanding and having a clean git blame and going, okay, this was changed by this contributor. You can talk to that contributor and go, hey, funny story, you crashed production besides you decided to deploy on a Friday morning and little things like that. So yes, I think just using it, finding a good workflow, understanding releases, main, and having like a stable branch and then your dev branch, and then being able to go back and forth between the two with those, I think is, and just do it often, do it a lot, as much as possible, and then you get used to it. And you can see from my earlier videos, like you go back 6 months to a year, when I first started doing more code reviews and more PRs, it was a drastic night and day difference. You went from complete noob to just kind of, I have some noob tendencies still. I'm still learning. So yeah, hopefully that helps. But yes, it also, you have CrowdStrike and other people that obviously need to work more on their code review, their Git use cases, because it's obvious that these giant multi-million-dollar companies don't have proper setup. Also, having good CI/CD is huge. Like, I know when I look at these and I'm pulling like, hey, this run right here by JT just submitted 11 minutes ago. Having a good CI/CD will save your bacon so much, because it'll go through, and I created these YAML files, these GitHub actions basically, that go through, they install a test environment of Rust. This should actually be a cached cargo instance, but so it should be sped up. And then it goes through and does a cargo check on all this code. So it's a good way to lint all the code. So then let's say JT screwed up and forgot like a semicolon at the end of a sentence, and it would just crash and not compile. Well, instead of having to worry about that, this actually checks it and goes, okay, it's not the end all be all, but having this in is so nice, because then at the end I'm like, okay, green check mark, sweet. Let's go back into the PR. Now I know when I'm on this PR, and let's give it a refresh, should show me green check marks. All the checks are passed. I know I'm clear to go ahead and merge this but I probably still want to do like a git checkout, look at the code a little bit. So I know, okay, he didn't screw up real bad. I know this will compile. So what's he doing here? All right, we got install ZSH. He's going through, we're doing setup ZSH config. He's setting the config folders and the RC file to configure it. He's building the RC file directly here in the script itself. And then embedding solarized color codes for the prompt in our prompt. Variables, zroot. There's no Zoxide here, but you know, small grape. And that's it. And then he just changing the list.rc right here to put setup ZSH and prompt underneath NeoVim. So this is a pretty basic setup. Honestly, I really like his setup. It's much more universal than my personal setup. I would probably change the command V's and some other things about this PR, looking at it. Probably leverage the common scripts folder. So if we look at our source folder, I probably would come into here, look at the source, and then see what we can pull from the common. Now the common, what I would do is probably check the package manager first after doing a check environment. So the environment's going to get our package manager. It's going to get, hey, is the current directory writable? Check for super user access, check the distro. And then once it has all those things done, it's ready to move on. And then we can see all these variables would be set. So our package manager variable would be good to go. So then over here, we'd know our sudo command. We'd also know what our package manager is. So you can see the super user, but I want to say, did I set up this? I need to fix a few things here. I would prefer this to also grab, because there's people that have like do as instead of sudo. Very rare, but it still exists. And I would also want do as capabilities. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, I would use those and probably implement them in the PR as well. So a lot of the PRs in the LinUtil, we're still kind of finding that good balance of utilizing these common scripts and then kind of building it all. Hey, Hikari, you dodged the whole CrowdStrike crash. Oh, that's awesome. Traveled the day after the airport was fixed. Awesome, man. That's funny. Of all the people. Apparently their CI showed green because everything did compile. The kernel sys file was just full of zeros, but that was still a valid file. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff with that, though. I don't know. Like, I think CrowdStrike is just fundamentally flawed as a program. Like, I don't think having stuff as like a boot start driver and then injecting this weird extra bit into your driver it just seems like a super janky solution for something that everyone is on. I don't know. I honestly think like a more elegant solution would be like Huntress, which I think did I talk about this in a past video? Maybe. Huntress, I was always really impressed, and I think this is what we're moving to at my day job. We didn't have CrowdStrike, so we're fine. I was using WebRoot. I know WebRoot's awful, but dude, it's so cheap. So we're finally kicking WebRoot to the curb. Their support's obviously bad, but it's a centralized console. You can get like for pennies. So if you're in a pinch and you want some kind of centralized administration, it hasn't been horrible. Having said that, yeah, I think Huntress is a much better solution for most businesses, especially big businesses. Obviously, don't choose something like WebRoot or even Bitdefender or any of those. I would highly recommend something like Huntress or Sentinel-1, or I don't know. There's a couple others out there, but yeah, this would probably be my, for those CrowdStrike people. I'd probably recommend something like that. We use Huntress a lot at my last job. How'd you like it, Assassin? Huntress is GOAT. John Hammond. They show up at DEF CON. Oh, okay, cool. Well, if John Hammond recommends it, then there we go. Couldn't be too bad of a solution. That's what I was thinking. Well, the cool thing about Huntress is it actually leverages Windows Defender. It probably wouldn't be suitable for people that have like a bunch of offline kiosks and stuff like that. that don't have good internet access. But I mean, I don't know if that even exists in 2024. I think most things would be online because Defender kind of sucks if it's offline. But you know. Oh, I like ESET. I just don't like ESET in an enterprise environment. ESET's fine, but for an enterprise, you're not going to be using these name brands. You're not going to use like a Kaspersky or an ESET or a Bitdefender or any of this crap you hear. I was about to say Norton and McAfee. Back in the day, 20 years ago, Symantec used to not be hot garbage. But that's neither here or there. Yeah, these days you need a specialized security product, and like Huntress or SentinelOne would probably be my two go-to recommendations. Ironically, still use CrowdStrike as the main AV. Oh man, that's great. It is great. Oh, good night. Yeah, I need to fix as far as that Rofi menu, I think from earlier, I think I need to look at the fonts. The next feature to be added to Linux utility will be fonts. Really fleshing out most of the fonts in there, I think would be the biggest thing. Oh, geez, yeah. Having more than one antivirus is always brutal. I'm always like, dude, you're better off just getting infected at that point. Your computer just runs so slow. It's so pointless. With those massive internet suites. Oh. I would like to think there's not many people these days buying the giant internet suites that are like 50 or 60 bucks a year. I know it's still a thing, but I couldn't imagine too many people doing it in 2024. How's your NVIDIA experience? Honestly, it's great after I switched everything to Linux LTS and NVIDIA LTS. So I haven't really had any issue. Not too bad. Kaspersky can be... Kaspersky's actually honestly been not that bad. Yes, it's been banned by the government, but frankly, it's always had good detection rates, some of the best in the industry. And Kaspersky gave away a lot of the rootkit detection tools. So honestly, I think if they would have just invested more money in lobbying, they would have not gotten banned. They just kind of forgot to grease the palms of the people that matter, the government. And that's probably something CrowdStrike was very good at. They had a great marketing team that had very good lobbyists. Obviously, with as much market penetration as they had, that is definitely the truth. And that's where most companies honestly make. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't really matter how good your product is. A lot of times it's how good your marketing is. And I hate to tell people that, but there's a lot of truth in that. There's a lot of truth in the marketing companies really drive the sales, and the sales put the money in the bank. And that's really what most people look at. And as long as the product isn't just complete garbage, and even if it is complete garbage, marketing can really make up a lot of that. It's just, shocking. I mean, just look at Norton and McAfee. Honestly, how are they still around? No IT person in the world would recommend them. Nobody. And yet, they're still big names in the industry. Why is WinUtil doesn't have CloudStrike yet? I've had a couple people contract me and go, hey, what about doing this in an MSP mass deployment? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't really want to be responsible for that. So, I don't really respond to that. Mainly because, I don't know, if you're an MSP, I feel like you should be writing your own PowerShell scripts. Although, I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. I know if I ran an MSP, I would definitely be writing my own. Just because I'd want really specialized tweaks for all my clients, and really understanding every little bit of code that goes to my clients, I think is really important. So I never really want to sell to MSPs in that regard. I guess if I was really concerned with money, I probably should, but I don't. Not really interested in that, just because that just doesn't sound fun. They should fine big corporations for false advertising. Well, I mean, if those big corporations are the one financing the politicians and government, I mean, that's kind of the blind leading the blind, don't you think? I hate to be cynical, but I mean, it's just the reality. I have a problem. I cannot change my volume using a mixer set max 5 plus unmute volume. It shows error a mixer unable to find master control master 0. What about Pavu control? I bet you're doing pulse probably. So you're probably doing like Pipewire pulse. But if you got like Pavu control, you might install that, and then you could change your audio here. I like to kind of, if I have multiple different inputs, like onboard audio and other stuff, I like to disable those and then just leave my stereo DAC, because I use a USB DAC for all my audio because I'm kind of an audio snob. Yeah, Sophos has always been a good AV. No hate here for that. Or PATCL. You could also use it. Here's the command syntax for PACTL. Yeah. All right, guys, I think I'm going to shut it down for today. It has been a fun one. We've gotten a lot of PRs to end today. I think that was like 40-something pull requests, a lot of code review done. Big improvements, a lot more on the documentation side of things. Linux utilities coming along. I really, no big commits I think of. When I look at the pull requests today, the big ones I think were the precompiler from OG, and then the icon check mark and like X for error in the task tray from Drift User on WinUtil. I think those are really cool additions. We'll test those out some more in the dev branch, and then maybe next week we'll do another stable release. So that should be fun. Oh, do we have one more DWM? Let's see. Well, Q is the exit button for LinUtil. Let's see. Do we have... I do love me some DWM. Let's look at it. Someone said there's a DWM PR we missed, and I have been all about it. So let's... Oh, we got 5 PRs. None of them are from Fesso. Fesso's the man. I tried to convert most key bindings from Kitty to this new terminal. All right, what do we got, Steven? I gotcha. That's right. We looked at that PR already. That's a couple weeks old, right? Yeah, that was last week. Which one was I looking? Added Terminator. I gotcha. Yeah, that's fine. That's I'll approve that for those Terminator users out there. What's the next one? Added a fix so DWM supports both Kitty and Alacrity. Wallpaper fix and key binding for brightness, audio, and some meat. Ooh, that's a big one. Let's see. You need animation from PyCom. Actually, the setup file does that. I guess it should be fine. Home folder, yep. Then sh command, Alacrity, or Kitty. Oh, okay. I wonder why the or Kitty is there. I guess we could, it should be fine. And then you added spawn for brightness. It's kind of weird because these keybinds can kind of go all over the place depending on where you're at. And like the A mixer and stuff. I don't know. Does that work on certain systems? That does work. Sometimes it doesn't. The audio is kind of a weird thing on Linux. And then what do we got? DWM, that's binary. O file. We got the release. But I don't see. Yeah, these are just all binary files. What else to clean up and touch? Yeah, oh, gotcha. So remove the object files, reject origin files, and then the binary file. I actually, the binary file might leave because some people might want to just download it. Although, I don't know. That might work. And then updated code to log out for DWM. I was not able to log out using power menu. Hopefully I did this right. pkill DWM. Oh, yeah. That's actually correct. That's funny. Yeah, approve that. I didn't realize there was no DWM in the power menu. I thought there was. Look at that file one more time. So for logout, open box. Yeah, there was not. Okay. That's a good one. So for this one, it was probably the biggest one that definitely needs to be merged. I'll probably look at the other ones a little bit closer. I might modify them just a bit, but I cannot do that right now. It has been a fun one, y'all. I appreciate it. Please use DWL. No, I like my Xorg with my old school's screen tearing. It's just better. All right, y'all. Peace.